Welcome to the deep dive. We take your sources, dig through them, and pull out the key knowledge to help you get truly well-informed. Today, we're diving into the pretty wild world of pop culture as it looked in early 2025.
Yeah, and we've got a really fascinating pile of material here. Everything from, specific celebrity moments, things blowing up online, to these bigger industry trends and what it all might mean culturally. The goal, really, is to connect those dots for you so you can see the bigger picture shaping entertainment, shaping our lives right now.
Think of it as your shortcut. You get not just what happened, but crucially, why it matters, and maybe what it signals for the rest of the year, maybe even beyond. So, yeah, let's unpack this. January 2025, it really kicked off with a bang, didn't it? So much happening across music, film, TV, the internet. You might actually be surprised how much went down in just those first, 31 days.
It's quite striking, actually. When you look at all these separate moments together, you start to see this picture of larger shifts emerging. It makes you ask, right, how did these things that seem totally unrelated, how do they actually connect to the bigger cultural conversation?
Okay, let's start with music then. The beginning of the year, you had big names, new stars, all making noise. Rosé and Bruno Mars, they grabbed that first #1 on the global Spotify chart pretty fast with APT. You shows you the power of a good collab, I guess. But then you also had Doechii. Her music video for Denial is a River, that 90s sitcom vibe, just exploded. Really felt like, okay, here's someone using virality in a fresh way.
Yeah, definitely one to watch. And speaking of icons,
Huh.
you had Lady Gaga. She got the fans buzzing with that countdown on her website, right?
Yeah.
Revealing the new album, Mayhem, coming in March. That felt like a real collective moment. People were excited, which felt quite different from the reaction to Katy Perry. Her announcing she'd donate earnings from her 2024 album 143 to LA Fire Relief. Well, it kind of backfired. People mocked it because the album didn't sell well. It really shows you how tricky public perception is for celebrities now. Even something charitable can get twisted if people don't buy the authenticity.
That's a really sharp point. It feels like the audience demands so much more now. Like realness. Okay, shifting gears to TV and film, January was packed there too. RuPaul's Drag Race kicked off season 17, 14 new queens. But on a sadder note, we also heard about the passing of the Vivienne, the first UK winner, just 32.
Yeah, very sad news. Meanwhile, Khloe Kardashian launched her podcast, Khloe in Wonderland. Scott Disick was the first guest.
Yeah.
And the Golden Globes happened. You had the usual mix, Jeremy Strong's suit getting attention, Demi Moore's speech for The Substance. And a bit of controversy, too, around Amelia Perez winning big. Always something at the Globes, right?
Always something. And remember that crossover, Abbott Elementary and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Kind of unexpected, but apparently it worked really well.
Yeah, I heard that, too.
And Apple TV Plus did that stunt for Severance Season 2, putting the cast in a glass box in Grand Central. Fans loved it. People were saying TV is so back, makes you wonder what's next for promotion stunts.
Absolutely. Creative stuff. In film, One of Them Days with Keke Palmer and SCA, that opened at #1. Beat Wolfman, actually. And critics seem to love it. High score on Rotten Tomatoes, maybe a sign that people are ready for, like, fun comedies again.
Could be.
And then a huge industry shift. This really got people talking. WWE's Monday Night Raw, leaving broadcast TV after all those years, heading to Netflix. That's a big move.
Huge. Okay, let's talk about some of the quirkier stuff, the internet moments. CNN's Wolf Blitzer got noticed for his, let's say, vintage entertainment center. Spotted when he posted a pic in his Buffalo Bills gear. You almost expected rabbit ears on the TV. People called him frugal, affectionately.
Yeah. It's funny what catches on. Shows how, everyday things become content. On a more serious note, though, Beyoncé had to postpone that announcement she'd teased for January 14th. That was because of the fires in LA, unfortunately.
Right. And the story is just wild. A woman apparently got scammed out of over $800,000 by someone using AI, supposedly, to make fake images of Brad Pitt in the hospital. It's kind of terrifying, actually. Shows the darker side of this tech.
It really does.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. But on the lighter side of AI, you had that AI Barney, styled after Mary J. Blige. People were already saying it'd be a huge Halloween costume for 2025.
I can see it. And Carrie Underwood had tech issues at the presidential inauguration performance, but, kept going like a pro.
And Bob the Drag Queen from Drag Race Season 8 caused a bit of a stir on the traders, eliminated a Real Housewives favorite, apparently, and the fan base was not happy.
Oh, the drama. And then in a move that blended politics and pop culture in a, unique way, Trump appointed Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and Jon Voight as Hollywood ambassadors.
Right, that was certainly a choice.
Okay, but here's where things got really intense, especially if you live on your phone. Remember the TikTok ban is supposed to go offline in the US January 19th? And it did for less than a day. Then it was back. The reaction was immediate and dramatic. People holding rock funerals, posting tearful videos, some acting like it was the end of the world.
Yeah. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, right, that reaction, even to a brief ban, it just hammers home how deeply embedded TikTok is in daily life. It's not just an app, it's tied into social lives, work, even identity for some people. So disrupting it feels almost personal. It highlights how fast and hard we react when these core digital things wobble.
Absolutely. So, okay, we've seen all these moments from January. What's the bigger story here? What are these deeper trends shaping pop culture now? And, like, what should we be looking out for this year?
And that really brings up the question, doesn't it? How are things like new tech and changing habits, how are they driving what's next, especially in music and entertainment?
Well, in music, one big thing is this shift away from strict genres. It's more about the moment, right? People want music that fits a specific mood or aesthetic for their lives, even if it jumps between genres. Think about those POV playlists people make, Verse Kiss, Rainy Day Drive, stuff like that. They're huge. Apparently, 80% of young people feel like the main character in a movie when they listen to music. That's pretty revealing.
It really is. And AI is creeping into music production too. Generative AI. Not just those services like Udio or Suno that make whole songs, but like plugins, tools that can generate a drum sound or reinterpret a sample based on a prompt. It's becoming part of the creative toolkit. You even have that AI Spotify band, the Velvet Sundown, with hundreds of thousands of listeners already.
Wow.
These tools, AI, vocal removers, all that stuff, they're making music production more accessible, empowering DIY artists, maybe artists who are marginalized. But, and it's a big but, it's causing tension. Creators versus copyright holders.
Yeah.
Big questions about authenticity, ownership. It's messy.
Yeah, I bet. And aesthetically, you mentioned this move towards dirty aesthetics, challenging the super polished Instagram look. Like Charlie XCX's Brat album or Keisha bringing back that kind of trashy Doders Eurodance sound with Joyride. It feels like people are maybe tired of perfection, ready for something looser, more fun.
I think so. It feels like a reaction, and you see it with new stars, too. Like Shovel Roan with her really quirky pop, or Artemis doing dark synth stuff. They're blowing up fast without fitting into any neat boxes. It shows that, bold, weird ideas can find an audience quickly now. Plus, dance music might be softening up a bit. After years of getting faster, harder, there's talk about groove coming back in techno, more swing, and slower club genres like minimal, tech house, they're steadily rising. Interesting shift.
Okay, let's talk about technology and how we consume stuff. Social media basically is the search engine for Gen Z now, isn't it? TikTok, Instagram, that's where they look for everything, pop culture, how-to guides. They prefer visuals over text. It's just a different way of finding information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And user-generated content, UGC, is just massive.
Yeah.
Something like 60% of TikTok users are Gen Z, right? And they're not just watching, they're creating, sharing. And 61% of them prefer that UGC to traditional ads because it feels, well, real,
Yeah.
more authentic. You see brands like Starbucks getting it, featuring custom videos and stuff. It's smart.
And who's doing the influencing? It's leaning more toward micro-influencers,
Yeah.
right? Smaller followings, but way more engaged. They feel more like peers than distant celebrities. People like Mr. Beast, Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, Bretman Rock, they have this different kind of connection.
Exactly. That peer feeling is key. And gaming, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger this decade. Things like cross-platform play, VR getting cheaper. It's making the metaverse, or whatever we call it, more real. And gaming is so tied into pop culture now. Look at Fortnite, League of Legends. They pull in trends, references. Plus, streaming platforms like Twitch, they've totally changed the game, making stars out of streamers, building huge communities. It's a cultural force.
Thinking about all this, you, the listener, you're right in the middle of it. Your habits, what you click on, what you share, it's all driving this.
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? How Gen Z's values their habits. They're not just participating in pop culture. They're actively reshaping it. Reshaping marketing, too. They're really in the driver's seat.
So, Gen Z, born late 90s to early 2010s, grew up totally digital, and they have serious economic clout, like $860 billion spending power in the U.S. alone, projected to hit $12 trillion globally by 2030. That's huge. And their values, it's interesting, making money, having fun, achieving goals, health, well-being, relationships. They seem to want that work-life balance.
And what they demand from brands is really striking. Honesty, relatability, actual social impact. Get this, by a 5-to-1 margin, they don't trust businesses to do what's right for society. Half of them expect brands to take a stand on social issues. 64% will pay more for sustainable products. A quarter have actually cut ties with businesses they see as unsustainable. They want action, not just talk. They'll call brands out. Fenty Beauty often comes up as an example, right? Setting a standard for inclusivity from the get-go.
Yeah, Fenty's a great example. And for Gen Z, everything has to work on mobile. It's mobile first. 75% use their phone as their main device. So brands like Nike, they get it. They create these immersive mobile experiences, easy social shopping. The content has to fit that fast-paced, varied lifestyle Gen Z has. You got to meet them where they are.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting, I think. What does all this stuff actually tell us about society, about ourselves, where things might be heading? Right, if you zoom out, you see these pop culture things acting like mirrors, or maybe even engines, reflecting broader shifts in society, but also maybe driving them sometimes.
Yeah.
Challenging norms, creating new ways for people to connect, find identity. It's like this constant feedback loop.
Okay, give us an example. Like Wicked, the movie adaptation coming up. People see it reinforcing values like friendship, redemption, dealing with moral gray areas, right? Through Glinda and Elphaba. Elphaba's green skin, the broomstick, it's all about being an outsider. And the casting, Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, brings in layers of race, gender identity into fantasy. It pushes back against simple good versus evil stories. More complex.
Exactly. Or look at Lady Gaga's comeback tour. It's seen as more than just concerts. It's about reclaiming that communal vibe of dance pop, making space for queer voices, femme voices, outsiders, in an industry often dominated by men. Her whole mother monster thing, it's about belonging, transformation for her fans, blurs the lines between the artist and the audience, creates community.
And book talk, that romantasy boom, it's huge. For young women especially, it offers this emotional release, escapism, helps with figuring out identity maybe. And it's totally shaking up publishing, right? Lifting indie authors, focusing on female stories. Tropes like fated mates become like shared emotional language, and diverse authors are bringing different perspectives into fantasy. Book Talk itself changes how books get sold, how they're discovered, algorithms shaping taste. It's a whole ecosystem. So with everything being so digital, what's happening with how we actually connect with each other?
That's a great question. In a world that feels, increasingly disconnected sometimes, how are these niche communities filling that gap, replacing older social structures maybe, fostering real belonging?
And we're seeing these super specific, super engaged groups popping up everywhere. Obvious ones like Book Talk sneakerheads, but then really niche stuff. Data hoarders, bread stapled to trees. I mean, okay.
Yeah, it gets pretty specific. But it speaks to that Gen Z desire for authenticity,
Right.
for belonging, and just the courage to be weird. It's fascinating, that stat. 86% of Gen Z think it's normal to be weird. 67% think it's weird to be normal. That's a flip. You see it globally, too. Japanese youth putting their own spin on tradition with costumes. Chinese communities forming bonds with AI bots. Indian communities driving this wave of homemade, lo-fi, funny content.
And brands are noticing they have to engage differently, more authentically, like Coca-Cola's K-Wave thing, tapping into the huge global K-pop fandom, or Honda putting little Easter eggs on Civics, knowing fans will find them and create content. They're playing with the community, not just at them.
Right. And there's this interesting tension or maybe coexistence. Big platforms help these niches grow, sure, but there's also a swing back towards more intentional connection, real-world meetups, private online groups like on Discord or Bluesky, even newsletters. People seem to want more control, deeper connections, maybe because of all the noise online. It's like seeking refuge.
Okay, let's really dig into this AI thing for a second. What does it actually mean for culture? Is it just a tool, or is it this cultural gray goo that some people worry about? That term implies something that just kind of homogenizes everything, right?
Yeah, and the debate is really heating up. Our sources, looking at places like Reddit, show real concern from some people. They see things like those AI Spotify bans, the Velvet Sundown, or the proliferation of certain kinds of AI images, maybe politically charged ones. And they worry it's leading to this blandness, this gray goo, a dead end for creativity. Others on Reddit are harsher, calling AI tools something for lazy idiots, wanting to bring back pop culture snobbery to critique AI art. So you have this fundamental clash, right? About authenticity, about where ideas come from, about artistic theft, what originality even means when content can be endlessly remixed by machines.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to think about. We've covered a ton today, celebrity stuff, viral moments, those big shifts with AI and Gen Z values.
And this deep dive really shows, I think, that January 2025 wasn't just random headlines. It was this dynamic moment where Technology, changing values, and that basic human need for connection all kind of smashed together.
Mhm.
And it's redefining what pop culture even is right now for you.
You know, it really is a shortcut to getting informed, isn't it? We saw how these little moments reflect bigger trends, how a song or even a short app ban can tell you something about where culture's headed.
So here's something to chew on. Think about your own digital habits every day. The apps you open, the stuff you watch or read, the online groups you chat in. You're not just consuming pop culture. You're actively shaping what comes next, maybe in ways you haven't even considered. What kind of moment-defined playlist might you create tomorrow?